everybody! So we've had a lot of questions and updates with our health and wellness situation, so we thought we'd do another video. This one would be hopefully shorter. Just kind of doing a quick update, explaining everything. If you're very confused, if you're new here, go watch our first health and wellness update. I'll put it, I don't know what side it's on, one of these up here. I'll link it down in the description box as well. So watch that first and then come back and watch this one. Alright. So I guess I'll kind of take the lead in this because this is more so about me, because she doesn't have any more updates with her brain surgery. Everything's good, you know. So in our first one, I talked about, I'll just do a tiny brief history, autoimmune diseases and the possible diagnosis of one for me. So I told you guys that I had an appointment with a specialist, a rheumatologist, which I did have, what was that, like a week and a half ago now? So she was really great. We did a couple more tests and everything came back in normal range. And I'm not showing any physical symptoms. So she believes at this moment that I do not have an autoimmune disease. But my ANA test is still positive. But she told me, which I had read before, but it didn't really resonate with me, that she said 15% of the population has a positive ANA test and nothing's wrong with them. So that's kind of where we're at now. She does want me to come in every year to retest for everything because I think I still am at risk for developing one. So just to make sure that everything's okay. The other thing, which is so funny, that Ashley wants to laugh at, and I can feel her looking at me because she wants me to say it so bad. So when my doctor called me with the results, she said she tested me for parvo, which if you ever heard of parvo,
it's usually because you've had a dog. It's something that you really have to watch out for when you have a puppy, because they could get parvo and it's kind of like really life-threatening. Mm-hmm. So when Shelby got off the phone and she goes, well, my doctor told me that I have parvo, my first reaction was, isn't that a dog disease?
So basically, you cannot transfer this between dogs and humans, and this is a completely different strain of the disease, so it has nothing to do with like dogs. So pretty much, it's usually actually more common in kids, but why she even tested me for it is because as an adult, if you have it, the symptoms show up as arthritis. But in kids, it shows up as like a rash and kind of more flu-like symptoms, but a really rash that's prevalent on your face. So when we started talking about this, Mom was with us and she goes, well, you did have hand, foot, and mouth disease when you were like 2 or 3, and that has a rash as well. But the difference between Ashley and I is she has really sensitive skin. She had rashes all the time. Mom backed me up on this. That was the only time I've ever had a rash, was that time when I was diagnosed with that. Never once again. And the way that my parvo test showed up is consistent with, I do not have it now, but I had it in the past. So my guess is that it was a misdiagnosis when I was little and that it was actually parvo instead of the hand, foot, and mouth disease situation. So
parvo, like you test positive for it. So similar to chickenpox. You guys should all be familiar with chickenpox.
Yeah.
Once you have it, you've had it and you don't have it again.
Right.
So but you always have the virus in you. Mm-hmm. So parvo is the same thing for humans, apparently. Is that she's always
I'm not contagious.
Positive for it.
Not
always.
Contagious.
But she's not actively sick with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So basically, there's nothing to worry about. She was just informing me that I have had that. So yeah, so I believe it was just a misdiagnosis when I was little because I haven't had it recently and I've never had a rash in my whole life since then. So, you know, coming to a conclusion, that's the only thing we can think of. So that's that. So after we got all that, we were like, okay, so what do we want to do about the whole AIP diet thing? Here's my perspective on it. I am so glad we did it.
Yeah.
And it is a very hard thing to accomplish, and so I'm very proud that we were able to do it. We did it for 27 days instead of 30 because we went to Charleston. We would have gone all 30 if we weren't going on a trip, but part of our philosophy when we're traveling is to really experience the culture and the food and everything in the places that we go. So that was just personally a decision that we knew the entire time that we were going to do in Charleston regardless, and then we were gonna come back from Charleston and start the diet again. Or not start it again, but just get back into it. Yeah. But things changed when we got this non-diagnosis, I guess you could say. And during the last week of AIP was the hardest for sure. As you guys know, before we started this, she was vegetarian, I was mostly vegetarian. We ate a lot of vegan dishes, and so having meat for every meal for almost 30 days was really tough, and that was really tolling on us the last week. And so when we got this kind of non-diagnosis, we were like, okay, like, let's just go back to how we were. And how I'm looking at it is I'm gonna just start eating intuitively, where everything that I'm putting in my body, I'm really gonna pay attention to how it makes me feel and kind of come up with my own lifestyle diet to where, like, if I eat tomatoes and that doesn't go over well, okay, then I just won't eat tomatoes. But it's not gonna be like, okay, I have to eat meat for every meal and I have to do this and this and this and follow that exact diet. Neither of us really want to do that. I think we're gonna kind of make our own thing. So definitely intuitive eating is kind of the way that I'm going about it.
I mean, I do feel like I'm glad that we did it.
It helped, for sure.
I feel like we were successful in healing our guts. I feel like that was my whole priority.
Yeah.
Like, she was doing it for like a specific medical reason, she thought. I was doing it more for just the healingness, and I feel like I did that.
Yeah, I believe it worked.
When we filmed our first video, we were really positive. We thought it was going really well, and I felt good, and we both did. I would say, like she said, that last week, eating the way that we were was no longer making me feel good. Yeah. I was actually feeling really sick after eating so much meat, and I think maybe it just was finally catching up to me. I don't know, I'm not a nutritionist, I don't exactly know the reasonings, but I was no longer feeling good how I was eating. And so
and that's when you want to stop, because it's all about that intuitive. If it's not making you happy, if it's not making you feel good, then why are you doing it?
So regardless of what was going to happen with her, I was going to stop now and go back to eating more plant-based how I was prior. She made the decision to do the same when it was no longer kind of like medically necessary for her to continue doing what she had set out to do. So like Shelby said, we're going more intuitively. There are still some things that I personally would like to eliminate as much as possible. Gluten.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow
just
that
because I feel
too.
like that's a really harsh thing, and I know it's buzzing and a lot of people talk about it and whatnot, but just how processed wheat is here in the States. I just feel like it's more harmful than helpful. And there's so many ways to avoid it. There's so many substitutes. It's really not difficult.
But but going off of that, like if we're traveling somewhere and there's like a cute like bakery or something we want to eat at, or if there's a restaurant where it's like, oh, we have to try this dish and there's gluten in it, like that's fine.
Yeah.
It's all about balance. It's just on our daily routine, we want to kind of still eliminate like gluten, maybe dairy, keep the sugar under control, stuff like that. But again, it's if you not necessarily mess up, but if you need to eat a little bit of it at some point, or if you need to have a meal with it in it, that's fine. You know, it doesn't need to be this like strict thing, but
I think we just are going to be more mindful, and I want to do maybe a little more of like a weekday weekend approach, where during the week days I am super conscious, like I avoid sugar, alcohol, you know, those kinds of things that I mentioned. And then on the weekends, give myself, I don't like
a little break.
Cheat.
Yeah.
I hate that. But like, you know,
give
myself just a couple days, so that most of the time I am putting things in my body that I know make me feel good. But if I, you know, really want that chocolate cake that has gluten in it, then I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna exclusively say like only Saturdays and Sundays. I'm just saying more like
2 of the days.
Yeah, just not every day. I don't want to do it every day. And I don't like looking at it as cheating, because I hate that. But you know, just overall, I think being more mindful and intuitive, and really, if this taught me anything, it's really listening to how I feel once I've been eating. Not mindlessly eating, paying attention to after I eat, how is this making me feel? Is my stomach upset? Do I feel good? And really taking mental note of that, and using that to help us eat in the future.
Yeah, and I've even said like maybe like every sort of 6 months or so I might do kind of like a little reset, like a Whole30 or like a modified version of AIP, you know, for another 30 days, just to kind of reset your body, because again, even though we healed our guts, you can still mess it up again.
Yeah.
So just to kind of keep it on track, but I'm not good with depriving myself from things, and so I'm really surprised at how well I did on AIP. So that's why I like kind of that weekday weekend approach, where it's like, okay, you still know that like a couple days of the week you can have something. Like I'm not good at the whole. You can't. Yeah, if you tell me something I can't have, that's all I literally think about. So I can't mentally go about it that way. So yeah, definitely, you know, every 6 months or so I might do a little reset. Maybe if it's just for like 3 weeks instead of the full 30 days, like just depending on how my body feels, for sure, is kind of how we're gonna go about it. But I'm definitely glad we did it, and I can truly see that if you do have like an autoimmune diagnosis, how much food like that can really heal you. So I mean, we were in it, and I can totally see it. So I think it's a great idea for someone who is struggling with like a chronic diagnosis like that. But even like AIP is like even more intense than just your like leaky gut diet. So I think it's honestly a good idea for anybody to just kind of like reset your body. It even says like if you're struggling losing weight, like if you're just tired all the time and can't get anything done, a lot of it goes down into your gut. So it's definitely good to kind of just do a little reset like that for anybody, because we do eat so much processed stuff, especially here in the States, that, you know, if you're not eating mindfully, then you are doing damage to your body. But you don't have to deprive yourself. You don't have to eat like that your entire life. Just, you know, give yourself a couple weeks to truly heal yourself, and then you should be good to go for a little bit.
Disclaimer, we are not doctors.
No.
Always talk to your medical professionals, you know, before doing any major lifestyle changes. You know, we were supervised in this, and you know, while we are very well informed, we've done our own research. We're our own advocates for our own health. Don't take what we did without speaking to your medical doctors.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so that's kind of the update. So we're just gonna eat our plant-based diet again, intuitive eating, you know, just doing what our bodies need. And that's definitely not the same for us together. It's different what we each need, because everybody's different. So yeah, but if you guys do have any more questions, leave them down below. If you have any specific questions about, you know, autoimmune diseases, kind of my whole process of diagnosis, I've gone into it a lot, but if you have any more questions, any specific questions about some of the food and how it made us feel and how we prepared, kind of anything you want. But yeah, we'll definitely be back to our plant-based diet that you guys are used to. Yeah, it's kind of all that it is. So this is a little quick update for you, just to get everything out in the open, and now we have to go grocery shopping.
Real life.
But if you guys did enjoy this video, give us a big thumbs up. That really helps us out a lot. Make sure you do subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed if you like our videos. Please subscribe. It's so simple. Just hit that subscribe button, and you can watch our latest video right there. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.